Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Happy Sunday. We have a football game going on right now. The Carolina Panthers are beating the New York Giants 10-7. Bryce Young actually looking a little decent today. Good morning to everybody. We're going to be hanging out for the next, 15 minutes or so. I'm going to first cover the active and active news, and then I'll get to your questions. I'm just going to hit refresh on my feed here. And just read from the top down. Deebo Samuel active for week 10. Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis are both active for the Jags. Drake London officially active. Jamal Williams inactive for the Saints. We did get a Miles Sanders injury earlier in the day. A big one for the Buffalo Bills. No Amari Cooper yet. So Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid look like pretty good plays today. Let me see what else we got here. Jalen McMillan will play today. Christian McCaffrey will be in full force, and we have a game time decision for Tyreek Hill, which makes me a little bit nervous, man. I don't know how quite to feel about that. Trevor Lawrence could miss the rest of the season. He's not going to be playing today. Nico Collins considered a game time decision tonight. I'm leaning towards him not playing. He only got one limited practice in this week, so I would assume he's not going to play. And we'll come back and update this in a little bit. But let me get to some questions here. Good morning, Chase. Hope you're doing well. Thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr. today? Start Thomas Jr. or Pitts in the flex? Is this the same question? I'm playing Brian Thomas Jr. over Kyle Pitts. I think the game environment could be a lot of passing for the Jags today. And the Falcons game is a little bit curious because they could just be up and winning the whole time. We might see a lot of Bijan and Tyler Algier today, who I don't hate as a deep flex. So I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. over Pitts in a full PPR tight end premium. I don't think Tyreek's going to play. I think they're going to take the week off with him. So if I'm ranking these guys, I think you play Thomas and Waddle. I like Kyle Pitts, but I just don't know if there's a big volume day today. So I'm leaning towards Waddle and Thomas Jr. Good morning to Harris. Hope you're doing well, bud. Deebo or Nico, I think you have to play Deebo Samuel today against Tampa Bay. That Buccaneers pass defense is really, really bad. And from what I looked into, they play a lot of zone. And Deebo Samuel against zone, man, he usually eats against zone. So I'm going Deebo. I don't think Nico Collins is going to play today. They activated him. He got one practice in this week. That's usually not what you want. So even if he does play, I don't know if he's a full 100%. I'm going Deebo over Nico pretty easily. Do you like David Montgomery over 9.5 receiving yards? Sure. I mean, he's not really big involved in the passing game, but he has been more so this year than last year. So I'm definitely open to it. I'm not locking in that bet or anything because he usually only gets one or two targets. So hopefully he can make a catch and run. I'll go over. Who's the quarterback you pick up for the rest of season? I would need to know who's out there. If you can get Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield's still playing pretty fine. If Brock Purdy's out there, I like Purdy quite a bit. Otherwise, Tua, Jared Goff, those guys, that's probably the names that I'm looking at here. If you have a list of guys available, I can make a better call for you. Oh, it's Austin Eckler today, and it's not close. DeMarcus has been running hot on touchdowns, which has been nice. But Eckler without Brian Robinson today, it's a tough defense game against the Steelers. You might see a handful of dump-offs there for Eckler. And I think, if they do get to the goal line, he has been their goal line back when Brian Robinson isn't in. So I'm thinking Eckler over B-Rob, and then Eckler or Rico Dowdle. Okay. That one's tough. I think I'm going to lean Austin Eckler, but I do like Rico today to get the volume. I think the Cowboys are probably going to end up dinking and dunking a lot. So Rico has shown the ability to catch 4 or 5 passes in a game. It looks like Bryce Young almost just threw a touchdown here. So I like both backs, but I'm going to go Eckler in what should be a better game environment, I would assume. Russell Wilson, I'm fine with. I don't think he offers a ton of upside week to week. He's had some really nice games. I think he's got a safe floor. Their schedule coming up is a little bit difficult. Did Chuba get in there? It looks like Chuba got stuffed at the 1 yard line. I'm fine with Russell Wilson, but I think I'd rather have Tua, Sam Darnold, maybe Baker, maybe Cousins. There goes Chuba. Chuba in the end zone. So touchdown, Chuba Hubbard, guys. again, I don't think Nico Collins is going to play tonight. The reports that I have seen, again, he hardly practiced all week. I don't want to risk getting a 0 unless you have someone on the Monday night game that you can switch out of. You can wait for Nico, but I don't really want to. I don't really want to take a 0 at that position. So unless you have somebody, I think you got to play Eckler or Mostert. I'm going to go Eckler today over Mostert. Amari Cooper is not playing today. They've already ruled him out with that wrist injury. The Bills are a little bit shorthanded, down Keon Coleman, down Amari Cooper now. So big day for Khalil Shakir. If you guys have, DFS lineups, I think Khalil Shakir is going to be one of the most owned guys today. And if you do have him in your wide receiver 3 flex opportunity, I think that's going to be a good game for Gabe Davis. I'm still looking for the Trevor Lawrence out. Have they ruled him out yet? I've got a handful of inactives, but I'm not quite seeing anything yet. If you guys are setting DFS lineups today, I really like the 49ers Buccaneers game. Purdy versus Baker Mayfield should be a good one. You guys can build Brock Purdy lineups, whether it's with Debo and Kittle, or CMC's going to probably score a touchdown today. I just don't know, what his full workload is. They're going to say that he's full force, but what does that really mean? We don't know. So I like Purdy. I like Baker Mayfield. I like Rachaad White for a cheaper running back. I also like, some receivers, Josh Downs, Khalil Shakir, maybe a couple tight ends like that, George Kittle, Otten, Mostert or Rico. I'm going to go with Rico Dowdle. I don't feel great about that one because Mostert could easily rip off a couple touchdowns, but I do think Rico is the safer high floor play. And that game could be fun tomorrow night. There could be a lot of scoring. I don't know if that leads to a Raheem Mostert workload, but I'm going to go Rico Dowdle here over Raheem Mostert by just a few spots. I could do Cousins, Stafford, Wilson, or Williams for rest of year. I think Cousins is probably the guy that if I had to just lock one guy in, it's probably Cousins. I don't want Caleb Williams, so I think could get better as the year goes on. But if I'm locking one guy in every week and I'm not thinking about it, it's Kirk Cousins right now. He's shown that ability to throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns, over 300 yards. That offense right now is it's humming pretty well. If I'm ranking these guys, I would rank them as you have them listed here. Cousins, Stafford, Wilson, and then Williams is not really someone I want to rely on for the rest of the year. So Matthew Stafford looking pretty good. I like Matthew Stafford, but I'm going to lean Kirk Cousins just a little bit. Let me hit update on my feed here and see if I can find any more updates for us this morning. Trevor Lawrence is inactive. Juju Smith-Schuster inactive. Jamal Williams inactive. Cedric Wilson and Amari Cooper inactive. Active today, Drake London, Debo, CMC, Brian Thomas, and Gabe Davis. So interesting group there. Yeah, not as many active inactives as I thought we'd have this morning. So keep your questions coming, guys. I'll hang out for a few more minutes here, and if I can help you guys out, I will do so. I got my Jacksonville Jags shirt on. I'm pretty bummed by the Trevor Lawrence news, man. I thought he was starting to come around and be he was like a top 10 quarterback in fantasy over the last month or so. So I'm a little bit bummed. Mac Jones. I have to start Mac Jones today in a couple of leagues. Jennings or D-Rob? It's tough because I really like the matchup for the 49ers passing game today against Tampa Bay. I'm going to lean Jauan Jennings. Again, I think Demarcus Robinson has been, you're following the touchdowns, which he could easily score 1 or 2 again today. But I think the better play is probably Jauan Jennings. He's going to be the number 2 receiver for Brock Purdy today. And that Buccaneers passing defense just can't stop people. Douglas or Travis Etienne? I'm going to go with Travis Etienne. I think the nature of that game today is you're going to see the Vikings offense kind of do whatever they want against the Jags and hopefully lead to a lot of passing for Jacksonville, which could be, 4 or 5 catches for Etienne. I don't expect it to be a Tank Bigsby game, but I feel good about Etienne hitting, 10, 12 PPR points if that's where we're going. It is a tough matchup for Demario Douglas today against the Chicago Bears. I also think, Keyshawn Butte is playing ahead of him. Kendrick Bourne, though Demario's kind of the number 3 receiver in terms of snaps and routes right now. So it doesn't feel like a great PPR play. I think I'll lean Etienne, who could, he can still get a touchdown, break a big play or two. So I'll go Travis Etienne there. I'm hitting refresh on my feeds to see if anything else has popped up. Kind of not the best slate of games today. I'm excited for next week. I took a peek at next week's games, and there's some really fun games. Kansas City Buffalo is the game that I'm excited about next week. But for today, I think that Tampa Bay San Francisco game is going to be good. I expect Washington Pittsburgh to be a good game today as well. If you guys are looking for defenses to start, hopefully you have the Chargers. I think Chicago and Patriots are both in play. That should be a low-scoring game today. Obviously, Eagles against Dallas. Although I'm not opposed to Dallas, putting up some points today. Not to win, but to at least look competent. I think Cooper Rush is fine. They're going to run the ball and hit CeeDee Lamb and kind of dink and dunk down the field. Jacksonville, definitely not the best offense today, but the Vikings defense should be in play. And man, this Carolina Panthers game, 17-7, Carolina looking good. But if you guys don't have any more questions for today, I'm going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of this Germany game. If you guys do have any last-minute questions, you can always hit me up on X, comment on this video, TikTok, all that good stuff. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning. We'll see you tomorrow night. Peace. Got me feeling icy.